Hi Virgo, my name is Audrey Alison. Thanks for joining me for your December 2017 Astro Tarot forecast. I am shuffling the New Palladini Tarot by David Palladini, and here's what the back looks like. Infinity symbols mixed with an Ouroboros. It's amazing. It's slowly becoming my favorite deck. Let's see what comes up for you. I'll be shuffling though through the Astro portion. And if you would like to book with me, I recommend selecting the 90 or 60-minute Astro Tarot reading, because if you do so, by the 24th of November, you will receive 10 free minutes to either apply to that reading or to use by the end of the year for a 10-minute session. So consider that. In the month of December, we have our Mercury Retrograde, and the first transit we have on the 1st is Venus entering the sign of Sagittarius. And this will impact the 4th house of home and environment for Virgo and Virgo rising. So please watch your moon and your sun sign and your ascendant sign for a full cosmic catch-up. Mercury in this sign will add to the aesthetics and decor of your home. She is a planet of decoration and beauty and art and harmony. So in the 4th house of environment, it is essential for Virgo to feel at ease in their home environment. This is also smoothing over the relationship with your mother at this time in the 4th house of the maternal. She's there, Venus is there through the 25th of December. So there is a 24-day stay with this influence. And I feel like setting up decorations around the home and beautifying your environment will become very important to Virgo. On the 3rd, Mercury, your ruling planet, retrogrades at 29 degrees of Sagittarius back through 11 degrees through the 22nd, and this is also in that environment. So you're going over some things in the home. I feel like Virgo could be going through where you store belongings and old photos and materials from the home that aren't always used. You're going through boxes of old paperwork, memorabilia. Nostalgic energy is here when Mercury retrogrades in this sector. And you could be going over your past and having the memory of what used to be, especially around these holidays. I feel like Virgo is taking a trip down memory lane. Just please keep in mind, you are not your memories. They don't define you. They don't even exist anymore. So please try to wake each day going forward in your days is what I'm getting. Don't think that everything that has ever happened to you is attached to your back every morning you wake up. Start your days with a fresh, clean slate is what I'm getting. As Mercury retrogrades, he will cross over Saturn in this sector, who has been stationed here for 3 years for you in the 4th house of home. So there has been a realignment of where Virgo is living and how Virgo is living. And when your ruling planet goes over this planet of lessons, Saturn, and restriction, there is a final feeling of limitation here in this sector, and you might feel like you need more space. You're requiring space in the environment, your own personal space, and it's hard to communicate about this because your ruling planet is slowing down, and that does affect Virgo's ability to express themselves because this is your ruling planet. And it might be best to gather how you're feeling through the 22nd and move forward with the expression of this after the 23rd. I also think that there's a final lesson in this transit when Mercury retrogrades over Saturn's final few days in this sector for you. So there's a personal lesson for all of the Virgos. It can apply to everyone. Please watch all 3 of those forecasts, though, for a great summation. Again, on the 3rd, the same day Mercury retrogrades, we have our full moon at 11 degrees of Gemini. And this will bring closure in the career sector for Virgo. Retirement could happen for those of you who are in that age bracket. You could also find that you are putting an end to your career path and starting fresh. I think you can hear the train behind me too. I love reading here. I'm in New Jersey, in the home I was born and raised in, and I can hear the train, but I can't see it behind me. We'll see if it can come through at some point. Having closure in the 10th house could also mean burying the hatchet with a father figure and putting an end to any bad blood or misunderstandings at that time. On the 9th of December, Mars moves into Scorpio. This is the planet of action and energy in the 3rd house of communications for Virgo, and also the house of writing and expression. So it's important for Virgo to assess how they're feeling, and maybe it's not about communicating it to the person you are feeling it about, but it's about writing it down. This is also a strong placement for marketing yourself and being in connection with siblings. Mars in the 3rd house could have brothers coming into the picture, the male energy of sibling. It could also see you wanting to plan travel locally, although it's not the best time for traveling when your ruling planet is retrograde and having it be the planet of travel and communication. So choose wisely those dates, but you are inspired to plan a trip, is what this is. Mars is the inspiration in the house of the sector of local travel. So you might be thinking about this and preparing for it, but probably taking action or implementing it after Mercury's direct would be smart. On the 18th, we have our new moon at 26 degrees of Sagittarius. And this new moon is in the sector where Venus is transiting and also where you have that Mercury retrograde. I do want to go back a second and remind you that when Mars enters Scorpio, he will be conjunct Jupiter. So this expansive energy to communicate, write, local travel, connection with siblings is increased in a big way because Jupiter's presence is so abundant here. Going back to the new moon, it could see Virgo in a new environment come the 18th, and a new home. Are you comfortable with where you're living? This is something to evaluate at this time. If you see yourself in a new environment, you have to envision it, because you will get nowhere unless you can see it first. So keep a strong vision on where you want to head in terms of environment. If you're looking for the perfect apartment or home, just keep it in your mind and think positively about it. On the 19th, Saturn makes a transit, which doesn't happen but once every 3 years. So this is a big time. He's leaving Sagittarius. He's entering the sign of Capricorn through the 17th of 2020. So you do have a 3-year energy with Saturn now in the 5th house of children, creativity, true love, and romance. And with this planet now being conjunct Pluto when he arrives there, I feel like Virgo is creating an end to romance, an end to the true love, and learning lessons going forward about what it is that they really want and who it is they really want to love. There is lessons learned and restriction and limitation with Saturn, and he's in the 5th house. This also could impact your fertility, because I don't think it's an easy time to be pregnant. Pluto in the 5th house suggests not a lot of Virgos are procreating at this time. And when Saturn's there, that's increasing the restriction of that. Now, I do want to be clear though, this really impacts Virgo risings more than the sun sign of Virgo. So I don't want you to just listen to this and then give up hope like you're not getting pregnant. Really, you'd have to look at your 5th house of your natal birth chart to really see how many kids you're having and the sex. So that's all there. It's all in a fingerprint. These are just interpretations, and it's one way I can assess that it's not as effortless when the planet of limitation and the planet of endings is sitting in your fertility sector. So you might have to use treatments, IVF, or whatever you're considering. This might be something that you consider during this time frame of Saturn in this fertility sector. I also think that it could help you, this could benefit you in planting roots in creative projects. Your entrepreneurial businesses could expand, but they don't come effortlessly. You would have to put in a lot of work here. Saturn wants to see, the energy here is like, cross all your T's, dot all your I's, study, reassess what you know, make sure you've learned everything you need to know about this project before you publish it or before you perform and put it out in front of the world. Saturn wants you prepared. It's a planet of preparation in the 5th house. So it's not just effortless, and I have to say, it's not a great time for gambling for Virgo. Saturn wants you limiting the fun in this sector. Trust me, I just got done with a 3-year stay of Saturn in my 5th house. I didn't date much, let's put it that way. It's you really are picky and you're discerning, and you gain clarity. You know what it really is you don't want when Saturn visits here, or anywhere for that matter, but it's applying to true love, romance, lighthearted dating. Yeah, didn't do much lighthearted dating when Saturn was in the 5th house. And that's okay. It's more suited for partners who want longevity and seriousness. Saturn is serious. It wants you taking your connections and relationships seriously. On the 21st, the Sun enters Capricorn, the 5th house, and on the 25th, happy holidays, Merry Christmas if you celebrate, Venus enters Capricorn in the 5th house. So there's attraction and there's the life force of the Sun in this sector, but Saturn really wants you fine-tuning who's allowed in. So be prepared for meeting, but then seeing some red flags. Meeting someone, assessing the red flags, that could be very prominent in that placement. Let's get to the tarot and see what comes up for Virgo. Again, if you'd like to book with me, I'm at audreyalison.com. You can select your desired reading length, and I'll get back to you in an email. First card, the Chariot. This is a card of victory. It's a major arcana card. It represents the sign of Cancer. We are having a full moon in Cancer on the 1st of January at 11 degrees of Cancer. And that brings a fullness and awareness, a culmination in the 11th house of goals and friendships and social connections. There's a victory for you, but look at this, the Hermit. This is Virgo's card. Love it. Virgo, you might retreat, but you always keep the light on. Maybe you have hope in something. But this is a card to step back. Mercury's retrograde. Step out of the limelight. The Hermit says rest, retreat, spiritual download, study, recuperation, learning, therapies. 2 of Cups. The marriage, the soulmate, the 5th house. This is the relationship that Virgo is in, or it's the relationship you are attracting. Let's see what else is here. Wow. Wheel of Fortune. So you've got 3 major arcana cards. This is about divine timing. It's also the Jupiter card. Jupiter in Scorpio, the 3rd house of communications. Some of you are either communicating with the next potential partner already, or you are waiting for the right time to move on, waiting for the right time to connect with relationship. And starting with the victory, you already know that you've won, or you already know where you're headed. This is a card of travel as well, and movement, but it's forward progression. The Chariot doesn't go backwards, it goes forward. Before Virgo can make some of those moves, though, you might need this time, the Hermit time, Mercury Retrograde time. So, you know, I said this in one other reading, but I'm getting it. You can't always be dialed in at 10 and going 100 miles an hour. There's a pace. I'm getting there's a pace to life, and things have to click. The Wheel of Fortune is saying they have to line up and the timing has to be right. So don't try to push forward. Virgo wants to get everything done. I get it. You're ruled by Mercury. You like to do everything as soon as you know you have to do it. But maybe you could procrastinate a little bit here with the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune. Pick your battles. What do you need to tend to first? I think it's relationship. Whether it's putting it to rest or beginning it. It just depends on what type of Virgo you are. I hope this was helpful. I'm wishing you a beautiful December, a happy holiday. Remember, the sky is limitless, so reach for the stars.